Well, we're back again. I had to bring him back even though we recorded it. Welcome to Wicked Crazy Pinfalls. We got the man himself, one of the community pillars in my mind. Tom talks rubbish. What's up? It was so nice we had to do it twice.
Yeah, like I told you off camera how much fun I had. So like when you said, "Do you want to do it again?" I was like, "Okay, like that'll be fun."
Yeah, especially with the litany of people you're talking to, it's just an insane amount of people that you're talking to. I mean, you talk to a lot of people from Ring of Honor, NWA, even some of the people still at Fightful. Here at Body Slam, you're getting into the Body Slam amount of cast and stuff like that, which I'm excited that I have we're live on a Tuesday, which is very rare. But I'm excited to do NXT tonight. But we're gonna start from a little bit of everything just because it's fun to do a potluck. We're going to just sway like we usually do. SummerSlam was interesting to me. It was one of those shows that you really didn't expect much. The returns were major carrier and stuff, but there was a lot of duds. But the start of the pay-per-view and the end of the pay-per-view, mainly for me, the end of the pay-per-view was just like, oh my god. Did you get a chance to catch up and watch some of the SummerSlam a bit?
So I told you off camera, I've really had about 2 weeks where I haven't watched wrestling because I was so burned out with all the recording that I've been doing and all the Vince news. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've only managed to catch, I'm up to date on Dynamite, but I haven't managed to catch any. I've only managed to catch what you need to catch from SummerSlam, which is like the big returns, if that makes sense. And that's only through clips and Twitter and stuff. But I do plan to sit down at the weekend and actually watch SummerSlam because with everything that I have seen, I'm really excited to actually watch it.
I didn't expect those three people returning, and I didn't expect, honestly, a tractor being used in the main event. But it was interesting because of the picture at the end. A lot of people are noticing that this could possibly be Brock's last match in WWE. If you had to project him to be like in the Hall of Fame, do you see him going in? Obviously, not this year coming up, but the 2024 class, because he would be literally a slam dunk Hall of Famer in my mind.
A slam dunk Hall of Famer, yes. But this might be controversial. I would not have him as a headliner. I don't think,
really,
personally, I can't see him showing up to want to do the speech because of his track record with WWE and things like that. I can't see him wanting to do that. And his speech being long enough to be the headliner. But also, with his controversies in WWE, I can't see them wanting to put him as the headliner and promote him, if that makes any sense.
I think you put him as the headliner and you have the one person. There's only two people I could think of that could actually enshrine him, and that would be Paul Heyman for one thing, and Mark Calloway, which, by the way, if you haven't watched the biography of that is an awesome biography A&W did. A&E, sorry about it. They get close on the freaking wording and stuff. But it's awesome how they did that, how in depth they've got into it and stuff. I'm going to actually catch the Goldberg one later this week and try to catch up on a lot of stuff. Because I like biographies. I like learning stuff about certain people and stuff. So for me, it's a lot interesting to see how that goes.
Just quickly, man, and I do apologize. If you guys can hear a fan, it's because I'm currently melting. It is very hot in the UK. And I'm like, if I don't have a fan on, I probably will pass out on camera. I do apologize.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I have central air and it's 100 degrees in Massachusetts. I get that. Trust me.
Yeah. Sorry, I know what YouTube comments are like. It's like, why is there that noise in his background? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fun to see where they go from here with Brock, because they keep telling us it's the end of it and then he comes back. It's like Goldberg in case glass breaks. But I want to touch back on the returns more so because you've seen some of that. Bailey, Io, and Dakota, just to kick off the Hunter regime, it looks like Hunter is going for the gullet to stack up WWE with and I'll say this, not the Vince talent, the proper talent. And some of the people they have, it's already shown that they're using them. They got Miz, Ciampa, and AJ Styles set up yesterday on Raw. And what was interesting to me is that they had Dexter Lumis in the crowd in the back, and AJ looks in the corner, and the camera doesn't show him.
Yeah.
They pull him out. But I can't wait for an AJ Styles and Dexter Lumis match. There's so much they can do with these matches. I mean, Karrion Kross returning, going to SmackDown with Scarlett. Oh my God. You know how many I think you and me even talked about, we called that saying it's a possibility he would be back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's some people saying that there's a strong chance Johnny Gargano is going to come back, and Candice when they're ready, and Hunter leaving an open door policy for them. That is awesome, because then you can turn around and have Candice in the women's division, and you can have DIY go after the Usos. I need a DIY connection to go after the Usos in order to give more credence to that tag division. If Hunter's going to look at that, they're going to have to build up the Viking experience. They're going to have to take some other people, which that women's bracket for that tournament looks really interesting. And there's 2 NXT talent in there that caught my eye, which is Nikita Lyons and another person I can't remember off the top of my head. I have bad things with naming names.
He has that brain. Leave him alone, guys.
But at least with that much, those brackets are stacked. I can't wait to see where they push and shove certain people. I'm not going to be surprised if we see coming up down the line a Sasha and Naomi return right afterwards.
I have seen this floated around on Twitter, man, and I am not going to take credit for it, but I fully expect whoever wins the tournaments to be like celebrating and what have you, and literally as they're celebrating, they're holding the belts. Boss time and Feel the Glow hits either simultaneously or one after the other, and we get almost like a showdown, and that will set up a unification match. I've nicked that off Twitter. I do apologize.
I think that we're to piggyback on that, not their similar music. I think they're going to be Team Bad's music. Remember back in the day when they all first came in, they have their own individual faction stuff unless they came out by themselves. It's going to be awesome to see where this tournament goes. I like tournaments. I'm in a fantasy football thing going on with Pluggo from Love Wrestling.
Ooh.
But I want to see where all this is going, because between Cross returning, Bailey returning, where it's now Io Sky, Dexter is coming back, it seems. They're bringing a large of the black and gold brand back. And for me, if he was still out there, I would, but he's in AEW now. I don't know how long the contract is. I would love to see Keith Lee back in WWE at some point going against Roman.
Just based on the way that Tony Khan responded with the Aleister Black and I can't remember who else he spoke about. I think it was Adam Cole. This was on Busted Open. He said that they're both signed to 5-year deals. So I reckon Keith Lee is signed to a 5-year deal.
Yeah, and there's some unrest in AEW. I've read that Miro is not happy, which would be interesting name to throw out there to go against, Roman and stuff like that. You could bite the history on that. It's going to be fun to see the progression where WWE goes with all this stuff, because there's so many stories. Like I said, you could have AJ versus Cross. That would be interesting. We had AJ versus Ciampa. I literally can't wait to see where it all goes. I'm excited. It's one of those things you need an injection into for this. But a lot of people are calling the main roster the black and gold roster now. So who do you think is next?
Obviously, as you mentioned, I think Gargano and Johnny and Candice are a very, very, very high probability. My heart, because I just want to see him back in WWE, is Bray, but I don't even know who's a free agent at the minute, man, because of AEW. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they took a bunch of the talent that came out of WWE originally. I've
Yeah.
seen some. I don't know if Feifel's reported or not, but I've seen some people posting on Facebook that hey, Bray is signed to WWE. Like Wrestling News and stuff like that have said something like that. I've seen it floating through on Facebook and stuff, but I can't take it from their word because Feifel hasn't reported.
Yeah.
So hell,
I want to talk
even
to you about a fight for a report that I saw today, if that's okay. Once we've
yeah,
done this.
even Body Slam has not reported. So it's like those are the if Body Slam, I'll be honest, if Feifel and Body Slam don't report it, or we don't hear it from anybody else that is credible, I don't take a look
Me
at it.
neither.
But I just
Me
saw
neither.
that in passing, and I'm like, I don't know if that's real or not. But it's an
Me neither.
interesting name, especially that Instagram / Twitter post he talked about hinting at AEW, hinting at WWE, being all talking about wrestling industry and the media itself. So I'm excited, but there's one name I kept throwing out there. If Bray comes back with, don't be surprised Eric Rowan's right behind him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know what to say to that because I've never seen Eric Rowan without Bray, so I don't think it'd work without each other. Obviously, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they feed off of each other, especially like with Luke Harper, Brody is like everybody misses him, but it's just you can't picture Bray without the one of them. Yeah, as the Fiend, you had Alexa, but if you're gonna bring him back as a hybrid version of the two, Eric Rowan would be a perfect fit. Hell, if he wasn't doing Control Your Narrative, Adam Schefter, formerly Braun Strowman, would be an instant perfect fit for all of that.
Yeah, and I could see in the future, I could definitely see Braun Strowman coming back because of his size and just his overall thing. One thing I do want to bring up, man, is like they've moved like people like Omos to main event. I hope, and this is just me, I do hope that it doesn't just become black and gold, but on Raw. I want to see variety. I want to see people like Omos competing. Would you agree?
Yeah, I want something substant that makes you excited for like hell. Give me like I put out there months ago. Give me AJ versus this version of Roman.
Ooh.
The AJ like Pitbull. When he first came into WWE, they had matches with him as the big
Side
dog
note,
and stuff
how have
like
we
that.
not seen that already? I know we've
Yeah,
seen it when he was the big dog, but like it's very strange to me that they haven't jumped on that. I know obviously he was training Omos and helping Omos. If I butchered his name, I do apologize. But you take my point, don't you?
yeah. That's the match that would, if Hunter did it right, would make a ton of money, and it would make perfect sense. They can lean back on how AJ and Roman, like they did with Brock and stuff like that, that type of style of storytelling. But God, AJ with Roman in this version is perfect, and it would sell tickets, even if it's like Survivor Series kind of aspect of it.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting thing. You have like Ciampa, that would be an interesting in bringing up the NXT pass of Ciampa now that wrestling and all those bad words Vince hate is now being used by commentary and the talent and stuff.
One thing I will say, going back to SummerSlam, and because you brought up the commentary, Michael bloody Cole, from what I have seen, like, wow, what a difference.
Yeah, and on top of that, him being able to be flexible, say what he needs to, but being guided and controlled like he usually is. Oh my God. In that main event, he was like, end it, you're killing him, end it. It
My
gave me
favorite
chills.
part was, I think it was Corey, or it might have been Pat McAfee. I honestly can't remember at the top of my head. But literally, one of them was like, I liked you better when you didn't have opinions, and literally he was like, well, what's changed since then? And that did just crack me up. I have seen that.
Yeah, and the McAfee Corbin thing is that it was fun seeing what's up, guys, from the round table pod.
Yo,
But I think what the most interesting part about the whole SummerSlam was the Corbin McAfee match, just because McAfee's entrance and how he had a choir. And then the other thing was that Graves is like, I have to support him. I have a hot wife at home. And then all of a sudden he turns around. I was on Corbin's couch, like literally pointing out everything that's happened with Graves and Corbin and how he has to side with them.
Wasn't there a point where they were like, where something happened and the fans started chanting, let Cole go, let Cole go?
Yeah, they wanted both of them to freaking fight. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to set up Graves and, McAfee for the opportunity to run SmackDown. It was actually an amazing match. And that would be interesting because Graves is cleared to wrestle, but he probably would be it would be a short match. It wouldn't be like a 26, 25-minute match. It'd probably be like 20 to 15 type of match. I can't wait to see what they do next.
I also think you brought up Corey being there to wrestle. I think he's one of those people that's happy with his career because he had the indies. So I could see him doing like McAfee run, but I could never see him going back to how do I explain this? You're better with things like this than me, but I could never see him going back to full-time roster. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can't. It would make no sense at all. But I think being like Jerry Lawler-esque kind of thing, like Jerry in the late 90s during the Attitude Era, I think if you're comparing apples to oranges, I think he's this generation's Jerry Lawler when it comes to wanting to be behind the booth all the time, but having that flexibility where he can instantly jump into a ring and beat somebody up and know that he'll be okay.
Just one thing, and I'll say this, we don't have any bearing on this, but don't set every feud up by him being attacked when he's at the announce table, or having someone thrown into him when he's at the announce table, or having him literally get up from the announce table and just attack someone. Do you agree with that? Because that got very repetitive after a while with Jerry Lawler.
If they're gonna do like this with Cole, with Graves and McAfee, you could even throw a caveat in there and have Byron Saxton just do a commentary with Cole.
Yes,
just imagine how funny that would be.
Have you seen the Rumble with Corey Graves and then Byron Saxton eliminating him? I think it was.
No, I haven't. I want to see that now that you brought it up.
I think it was the Rumble. It might have been the 24/7 thing. I can't remember. That was one of my favorite things. And with them both being cleared to wrestle, I would love to see some sort of comedic Byron Saxton Corey Graves match. We have complete 24/7. Thank you, Wrestling Roundtable. But you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be funny to see all that stuff happening, all the shenanigans. Shenanigans, a Boston word, why not?
I love that one, but I take
it. Basically, yeah. Well, that movie Waiting, the place is named Shenanigans, if nobody knows.
I should have told you this off camera, but I've only got till about 10 o'clock my time today, man.
No, I figure we're gonna do a short show anyways because you have something special coming up. So I can't wait to watch that down the line.
You were on there last week, so
yeah, I know, right?
Cool.
I want to be able to see the flexibility, what they do. There's so many matches they can create now that Hunter is there. Hell, why don't you bring Braun Breaker up? And I know I'm getting chastised and have him go against Roman and say he's not the undisputed champion.
I think you pitched this last week, didn't you?
Yeah. And the thing about it is people literally turn around and just, not killing. See, everybody wants to get interviewed by you. I want to get interviewed by you.
So I will say this now. I've got my interviews booked up till end of September. So in middle of September, early October, I will be checking in with more people to do some more interviews, because It's now getting to the point where people want to discuss current wrestling, but it's so hard to get them to stop because I can't air interviews all in one go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't just saturate everything and just pray to God everything's good. BB is heartbroken, he says.
So we were supposed to do something. It would have been 2-3 years ago. Sorry, it would have been about 2-3 months ago. You'll appreciate this because I know you have a similar medical condition, but I had quite a bad epileptic seizure the day before.
Yeah, trust me, I understand more than a lot of people.
And I was heartbroken because it's the first time I've ever had to cancel an interview. But shout out to BB because he was so understanding, so like just reach out to me when you can, and I definitely will be in the future, man.
Hell, BB's awesome. He turned around and was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're like having a kid." He just was like all crazy and stuff like that. He's like, "I forgive you."
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. It was literally like, so I had the seizure the night before we were supposed to do it, and I tried to get up, and I literally went, "I can't move." Do you know what I mean? I love that. Yeah, so do I. I love that. But it will happen in the future. Like, there's loads of good people that I will be reaching out to. And this sounds really stupid, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I plan to do this to 2023, 2024. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not like I have to get everyone in this year. Just, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I joke with you about being interviewed and stuff like that because you're a good guy, and I love talking to you about this stuff. For me, it's like seeing all the progression on your stuff. It's like I can relate to how things are going. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about basic.
Neither do I. Shout out to, while we're talking about my progression and stuff, shout out to Mike from the Indies, by the way, because you would have seen this on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
He redesigned my logo for me, and he's made me a background for like my videos. So shout out to that guy, by the way. And
yeah, I need to get on that.
I just reached out to him and was like, bro, I really like what you do for Body Slam. I know you're an incredibly busy guy. If you have time, I'd love a background for mine, just because I got sick of looking at the black Zoom background.
Yeah, if you want me to show you this one, we have the Boston Garden as the background for
that's cool though, mate. Like, at least you have something. Because where I use Zoom, like you and I have had this conversation before, it's obviously a lot harder to put backgrounds and stuff in.
Yeah, it with Skype, with StreamYard, it's pretty easy. You can do that. I mean, since he's in the chat, I might as well just do this and just have fun with him right now. Where the heck is it?
Who are we on about, BB or Drew Nicholas?
Drew.
Hello, Drew. If you don't recognize me, I don't blame you. It's not your fault. You're a cultured man. This is your dear old sweet friend, RJ City, and I have a message for you from Anakinjment.
I love that.
We have a bunch of cameos on here that line up
Shout out to Maggie, by the way. I love her to death.
Yeah, I was on Coexisting After Dark with them and stuff like that. It was hilarious. It was fun.
Shall we plug my appearance?
Go ahead, do it up.
So you were on there this week, just gone. For some unknown reason, they've invited me on this Friday. So come hang out with us, guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's like I will probably am going to watch. I'm going to watch SmackDown on Friday, and if the Roundtable guys want me on, I won't mind doing that just for the fun of it. I mean, all from when I was a bad guy, everyone's ganging up on me. Do you want me to play the other cameos too and see what Tom thinks?
What's that from, by the way?
What, the cameos and stuff?
No, the from when I was a bad guy. Is that from like his wrestling days or something?
No, so we did a wicked crazy pinfalls tournament, and Drew is the reigning, defending, undisputed champion right now after beating Shane Husky to win the title. And I've been slacking. I've been trying to get an opponent for him, and the Money in the Bank situation that I created. Well, everybody tied for the most part, so I have to fix that and work another one out of that. But I really want to get this going more so, and I've been slacking because, well, fatherhood and stuff.
You
But
have a
he
kid, bro.
has-
Cut yourself some slack.
He actually is
That's my
holding.
mission, to get you to cut yourself some slack, bro.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are. But he is actually holding and defending an actual title, and it's a community title. It's not one of
Sorry,
those titles.
fans got to go on. I'm dying again.
Yeah, it's actually a community title. Anybody can hold that title, even if you're over in Europe and stuff like that. You can actually hold that.
What's this?
I'll throw back
What's
about our
this
little
round
wager
table,
for
boys?
All Out. I'm interested to forget about that. Drew, tell throwback about it. I have to figure this out, and I will literally be interested to see what they say on this.
Yeah. So,
but
going back to like current wrestling and stuff, I do hope that AEW still thrives, Impact still thrives, everywhere still thrives, because I do not want wrestling to become a monopoly again.
yeah, you don't want to keep it one-sided, kind of like, a business acquisition where they just control everything. Like Disney, there's a meme for Disney saying by the year 2335, Disney will own 90% of the world's economy. So,
Yeah.
can you hear me, Tom?
I think I got pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, basically, my worry is, man, I do not want wrestling to become a monopoly again.
Yeah, I want to keep it like just even keel, just have some fun and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be fun to see where they go. I mean, do you think AEW gaining all these talent pushed, other than if you take the events whole thing out of the equation and stuff, and you just add on Hunter's influence, if they decided, hey, we need Hunter to run it, do you think that kind of influenced the decision to have Hunter as creative, considering how good the Black and Gold was? Like, they'll look at that way?
I think it even goes back a little bit further. I think you could attribute it to maybe even Cody's debut and how he was treated pre-injury, to show the AEW crew that like WWE can be a place. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think of it. And speaking of Cody, I think he's going to be the John Cena spot, number 30 at the Rumble, and they're probably going to give him that shot at that.
And he should win, in my opinion. I wouldn't have said this about Cody when he was in AEW, sorry. But I really enjoyed his work in WWE, and I want to see him win.
The only exception is that because The Rock has been hinting at coming back for WWE a little bit, because he put a shot at the bow saying, "I'll see you at the table."
Ooh.
And that's an interesting thing, because and that was right after SummerSlam, where they were just having a dig. There's long-term story booking there, because Mania is coming up in 8 months now. We're in August, getting into September, and the Rumble is less than that. So I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I'm of the opinion, like I'll stand by this opinion. All wrestling I've watched lately is AEW, because just time. And there's part of me that still has a bit of, I call it abused dog syndrome, but you know what I mean when it comes to not trusting WWE as much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're kind of like me with like certain NXT talent, where you're like, you want to jump on there, but you're kind of hesitant. You want to see what happens first before you do it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I'm definitely of the case that it's like, I want all wrestling to do well. Do you remember how boring wrestling was pre certain companies? Because like Do you know what I mean? Like, just WWE being the only game in town got boring after a while. So, as much as we want WWE to do well again, we should still praise everything good that other wrestling products are doing, should I say.
And it also suffered because when AEW and WWE were going back and forth with talent acquisitions and stuff, it hurt a lot of companies too. Like, MLW, they were still getting pretty good talent, but you didn't have like the high end talents they used to. Evolve was a good company, but till WWE acquired them, and then ROH, which ROH is an amazing company itself before they got acquired.
Check out my interview with Rich Laszlo if you haven't seen that on my channel, by the way.
I knew I was setting that up, so that was perfect timing.
I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it yet, man, but that was a fun interview.
I'm going to watch it after this because literally the baby's asleep possibly right now and stuff like that. But it's interesting because it literally sapped out the undertone besides these two companies where you found like your CM Punks in ROH and other talents beforehand, and they came in. But now that there's two major 1 and 2 companies, you got ROH now coming up in my mind. It's just
the way I'll describe it is, and I keep interrupting you. I do apologize, man.
Don't worry about it. This is why it's fun.
Are you a soccer fan at all?
I am a MLS fan. I watch some of the Premier League on Peacock from time to time because I have an uncle that's a huge fan of the Premier League. So like I'll watch it and stuff.
The way I'll describe it is, obviously, with the Premier League table, you have, I don't remember how many teams off the top of my head, so I really shouldn't be using this analogy. But obviously, you have the two heavy favourites normally and stuff like that. The two heavy favourites can be good, but the rest of them that are going underneath should also be good because that creates interesting matchups and stuff. And that was a terrible analogy. I do apologize.
It's the same way with the NFL. You know who are the top two teams, and then everything just falls down to the wayside. But, that football conversation is another conversation I want to have with American football for another time. Just because with the NFL season coming up, that would be an interesting to ask you, like, what's the outlook out there in the UK about the American Football League compared to, the football?
I'm going to be completely honest, bro. I'm not the biggest sports fan, so I could not tell you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's you might not be a sports fan, a big sports fan, but it's also your take as being out there, what the tone is out there and the temperature out there when it comes to that stuff compared to like
our women won the Euros, so I was very pleased about that. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I haven't. Our
women's team won a soccer, and I was very pleased with that. But anyway, moving on before we get into too much soccer talk.
That's why it's fun, just going here and there and stuff. So with AEW and ROH is becoming fastly the third hot promotion out there right now.
This is something that we discussed, me and Rich Laszlo, in our interview. Like, he does not want to stop working for ROH, and he wants ROH to still be a thing. I could see ROH being like the ECW of like its generation.
Oh yeah, definitely. After that Briscoes FTR match, oh yeah, that definitely. And that is literally my match of the year, top to bottom, hands down.
It's up there. I don't know if I'd put it as my match of the year.
Well, I saw it live, so I am biased on that. But it's fun to see the diversity, like you said, of wrestling and everything. But for me, I'm hoping for something huge to happen in one of these companies that everybody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that happened."
Yeah. We obviously want our NWO / 316 moments, but like, I just don't want people to lose sight of. Yes, WWE is good now, but there's so many other wrestling companies out there that deserve love. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like MLW. Like I said, I wish Evolve was still around. There's certain indie promotions like Chaotic Wrestling here in Massachusetts. You got so many Japanese like Shimmer and everything. You know, so much good places you can enjoy wrestling. The content amount is just insane. Look at the G1 that just happened out in New Japan. So, I mean, it's endless amount of things. I mean, the only thing for me I wanted to touch on because of the NXT tonight is Dragunov releasing the title for the NXT UK belt. So, what are your thoughts on that?
He's legitimately injured, correct?
Yeah.
So it sucks for the man. That's all I'll say. Because unless it's on a takeover like a American takeover or the occasional UK takeovers we used to get, I'm gonna be completely honest, man. And please don't hold this against me. I don't watch NXT UK.
Everybody has their own version of what they like, but I really think with Hunter back, I think we're going to get more takeovers now, and I want more takeovers.
So do I.
It more exciting, and a lot of people think that they're not traveling out of Orlando or out of the UK for those bases. I really believe that we are going to have a takeover, and I think the first one should be in Boston. That's me being biased about that.
Is that you being a little bit biased because you want to go?
I want to go to a takeover and say I've done it. Yes.
Fair enough.
So,
I want to take over in London again because I want to go. But I take your point.
I mean, we could be biased of all this stuff, but I will cut the show short. I figured around the 40-minute mark would be great because you have to prep for your stuff too.
The one thing I do want to cover with you is, did you see the Fightful report about the rumor being debunked about Vince McMahon pulling the strings behind the scenes?
I heard a thing about that people still believes that Vince has his hands like he's the puppet master in a bit, but I don't see that actually happening. And for me, what the interesting part about that is that if Vince is completely retired and he's out, yes, he's a shareholder, the vast majority is shareholder, but I don't see him putting his finger on the pulse of the creative side of everything. You know, if he's completely out, he's got grandkids and stuff like that he wants to spend time with, you know. Father time always, as the saying goes, father time doesn't, you know, lose to anybody. He always wins at some point. It's just fun to see where it all happens. And I'm excited to see what Hunter does and Stephanie and Nick Khan. I'm more interesting. Do you pay attention to the quarterlies for WWE for the quarterly calls?
Only if they're like put on a news video for like Cultaholic, What Culture, people like that. I don't really go looking for them myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do though. That's me because I covered business in high school and stuff like that, and me doing the job I do, it's in business.
I will say this. I should have mentioned this. With the whole everything maybe needing to be reevaluated because of the Vince situation, like yourself, I am curious to see what's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean?
I think the more interesting question is what the quarterly call coming up is going to look like for the Q3, before the Q4 starts, to see what impact this is made in there. And a lot of people believe that the Q3 impact is more going to be the 2K22 franchise impact on the financial aspect than anything. But I want to hear this quote unquote budget cut, the thing that they kept saying that they needed to cut money, where now it's Hunter and he wants to break open the bank and get raw, really good talent that he trusts in there. I mean, Sean's running NXT. You got a base there. I won't be surprised to see Road Dogg come back and a lot of people that
Did you ever think in the Attitude Era we'd see DX running the company?
I didn't know, which is the funniest part about it. They were anti-establishment and now they are the establishment.
I hope, and this is just me, like as much as I love what Regal's doing, in AEW, part of me wishes that he hadn't signed because I would wonder if he would be brought back.
Well, I'll give you a spin before we go. Is that, do you think Claudio would be a champion in WWE, not ROH, if Hunter got there beforehand, because I think he was a Hunter guy for a while too.
It honestly, and this sounds like a cop-out answer, man, but it honestly depends on what they were booking him like. If I'll put it this way, I could see them following through on his good booking more than if I could see him getting less flash in the pan booking. I'll put it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess I have somebody else who wants to hop on in about a few minutes after you pop, so we'll keep going on the stream so that way you can get ready. But Drew wants to pop in for a couple of minutes and get his takes on all this stuff. So
Can I stay? I'd like to say hi.
yeah, no, it's fine. I'll let you say. I'll send him the thing. I didn't know how quick you had to be at doing what you do. So
let's just say, mate, I've got till probably 10.
Yeah, so basically, 15. Which is about 15 minutes.
Yeah, is that cool?
So, no, that's fine. Like, for me, I want to be accommodating to people. That's how I am. Like, the old Southern hospitality kind of thing.
I'm exactly the same, man. Like, every time I schedule an interview, I try and do it around this time in the UK, just because that's what's best for me. But if someone reaches out and is like, I can't do that, I can do it earlier. I try and do it later. I don't like doing it later, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, I mean, you have to be accommodating to a lot of things, like, in wrestling too, and just out here in the podcasting world, you have to be, even keel with a lot of things and stuff. Hell, we had security stop us last time and be like, what the heck we're doing. That was awesome.
If you haven't seen last week's podcast, just go check it out for that, please, guys, because that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I should clip it and just play it, and you and me just like, but yeah, fatherhood's doing pretty good. Brody's home. He actually was on Fightful Overbook on the after part. I had to hold him the whole time.
What, After Dark?
Yeah.
So what can I expect on After Dark? I shouldn't really ask you this on stream, but like...
It's just them being them and talking about stuff, and Maggie not having a filter, which is always great. But obviously you get the best of both of them all the time, and that's the best part about all of it.
What sort of questions? Can I put it that way?
You're going to have to watch.
All right. So you don't know is the honest answer.
I can't remember off the top of my head between waking up every 3 to 4 hours. I can't remember the last time I had like a coffee. I had a hard drink last night for the first time in months. Like, I made this thing where it was instant coffee make, right?
Ooh.
With they have a creamer called Willy Wonka creamer. So it's like a caramel chocolate.
What?
Yeah. So I put that in with a little bit of Bailey's Irish cream and a little bit of Kahlua. But you don't taste the Bailey's, you taste a little bit of the Kahlua, though.
Have you ever had an alcohol, bro, that's like your one that you can't drink because you had a bad experience on it?
Yes, I have.
Let's just say Bailey's is that for me.
110 proof vodka.
Ooh.
Yeah. The other one was 150-year-old Ouzo.
Oh dear. Yeah. So as I say, I'm happy. I'm excited to watch SummerSlam because I haven't watched it. I'm still enjoying what AEW is doing. I'm enjoying what Impact's doing. I'm enjoying what they did with Ring of Honor. I just want to enjoy wrestling, man. I don't want the tribalism to get worse.
Well, do you think, speaking of tribalism, do you think the Roman, almost 800 something days or something like that? I've lost track how long he's had those belts. Do you think it's kind of trivial now that he has had it for so long that it's kind of gotten stale? Like you walk in there and you're like, you already know how the outcome's going to happen. Roman basically wins. It goes on to the next one, and so
only because, and I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry, man. Like, only because it's like, I am not the biggest fan of long title reigns, and that's because I grew up with the WWE that switched titles what felt like every week. Do you know what I mean?
Look at John Cena, 16
Exactly.
times. Charlotte.
Exactly. So I'm a bit like, okay, but the problem is as well, WWE doesn't build up his opponents to the point enough that I can believe he's going to take the belt. They're going to take the belt. Does that make sense? Because it made sense in my head.
No, it makes perfect sense because you don't want to just have it like stale and people like instead of trying to enjoy SmackDown, you're waiting into anticipation till when Roman loses it.
I'll put it this way. The Riddle match came on the network. And even though I knew the outcome, I was like, I'm still going to watch it because it's a good match. But I watched like the promos beforehand. And just to me, they didn't build Riddle up enough to the point that I believed it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you need something like I said, AJ, build that up from the past and stuff like that. And AJ would be a perfect fit unless you decide to pull the trigger on a breaker, like I said.
Yeah. Again, my thing is with Roman, they need to build up, a bit like they did with Jey Uso in the beginning. They built him up enough where he got some wins to kick his reign into high gear. I hope that makes sense.
Well, on the other end, for the female side of it, for the women, do you see like a stable like Bailey, Io, and Dakota becoming kind of like that version of it, where not like where Sasha and Bailey had all the titles, but like a stable where each one have them and just
So
unify them
Io
both.
and Dakai have the tag
Women's
belts,
titles.
the tag belts, for example, and Bailey has a women's championship. Yes, I'd love to see that, and I feel like you need to see that just to legitimize. You know what I'm trying to say? Legitimize that stable. I feel like I struggle to invest in stables unless they have that hold all the gold moments. That's just me.
Do you see the possibility with the NXT women's title actually being unified with the women's tag titles? Because that would be an interesting thing because you'd have all three brands. Because if Hunter's running the show, you have to not redcon NXT now because he looks at it like that's a brand. And if they look at all of them, all together, it makes perfect sense. Like I said to Jameis on the show, on the NXT show a couple of weeks ago, you have to not look at this as just a developmental anymore. Yeah, you're developing talent. You will always develop talent, whether you're even on the main roster too. Look at Theory.
I'm hoping that now NXT will become, say they bring someone up from NXT, they'll stay as their NXT gimmick.
I mean, I could see Breaker doing that. That would make sense. I want to see Hayes do that. That would make sense. But I think at this point, you need to do a Kevin Owens spot where he's the NXT champion and he goes after, let's say Bobby Lashley, for example, and just goes after that and just be like, hey,
you know what I'd like
want
to see is Volta still the Intercontinental Champion?
Yes, he is.
I would love to see Bron Breakker come up and challenge him. That's just me.
I mean, for Walter, I think the ultimate segue off the IC title is actually him and Roman. That would be the most interesting thing.
What I would do is have him lose to Bron Breakker, but screwy, maybe even a Roman interference to set up their feud, and then we do Volta versus. I'm not calling him Gunter, by the way, because that is a stupid name from stupid creative. but you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see almost like a Volta go unbeaten for a while, similar to Roman. Almost like if WWE had AEW's ranking system, have him at the top of the rankings, and then be like, Roman's like, oh shit, I need to cost him this so he loses. Do you know what I mean?
He looks at Walter as a bigger threat and everything, and that could also set up something for. That also could set up something for the UK where you had Roderick Strong literally after the UK title. If they're going to do a tournament on the UK side, you could have him as your champion on the UK side, look at Brooks and Jensen. They're the tag titles for the UK, and they're defending them in the US.
Is that the Diamond Mine crew?
No, that's the the team that looks like they belong on a freaking farm. Like the Southern
as
guys.
I say, bro, I have not really watched NXT since Black and Gold era, so you tell me more about it than I've actually seen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to like see the progression on these.
Is
I
Drew
think
gonna hop on? Because I'm gonna have to hop off in a minute, if not, mate.
he's supposed to. He said he was going to be here in about 10 minutes, and that was at 4:34. So I mean, I know you got to hop off and stuff like that. If not, then I'll just pop on with Drew afterwards, anyways. We got about 8 minutes, anyways, so we'll see what happens between now and then. But
Sounds good.
So, what are the certain things you're excited for your channel coming down the line? Because you have like a litany of people popping in recently.
So tonight, an interview would have gone up with some good friends of mine that run a YouTube channel called Give Me a Whole Year, which is basically another wrestling YouTube channel from guys based in Hull, which is a place in England, Anthony and Dom, who have been nothing but mentors and really nice to me since I got in this game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So an interview with them went up tonight. Down the line, what have I got coming up? It's so hard, bro, because I schedule my content so far in advance. Do you know what I mean? One thing I will say is this Saturday, I have an interview going up with Robert DeFelice from Fightful.
Rob's awesome. A lot of times, if you send a chat, he's literally like on the ball with it.
Where we discussed, I'm not going to lie, we didn't really discuss wrestling, but we have similar medical conditions. Cerebral palsy. So we were talking a lot about that and content creating with cerebral palsy, which was awesome. I will say that.
Well, we might as well go towards what you and me have is the epilepsy. Like for me, I've been about 20 years seizure free, and it's an insane amount of time too, since 2002.
The ones that I had last year, I was seizure free for about 15 years.
Yeah, and speaking of Drew, he's got producer credits. He can pop it on his own.
Okay.
Actually, there you go.
You did it first. I was had my mouse hovered over there to put me in.
Well, welcome to the defending, reigning, undisputed, wicked crazy Pinfalls champion.
Please, I'm a humble man now. I'm not an evil guy. I don't need any of it.
Well, might as well have the champ pop in like anytime he wants. So I mean, it makes sense.
It's been a little bit since you've done a Thursday stream, and then
a Tuesday
today. So I was like, hey, a Tuesday show. Should say hi.
And we haven't done a live show in a while because I'm scared.
Oh, you do it fine. But
you will be great on coexisting, Tom. I promise you.
I am terrified.
Rob and Mackie are great.
It's not them though. It's me, and because it's such a big platform. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want people to be like, why did they have this jabron on? Does that make sense?
I think it's the first time I've ever seen Drew on there for this past week, and all of a sudden in caps he wrote Brody all in caps.
I actually hosted coexisting with Rob on Fightful Select once, and
good job.
Yeah, and that was very nerve-wracking, but Rob eased me right into it, and by mid-show, I was totally comfortable with him. It was a great time.
Like
I'm always comfortable with Rob.
I've done interviews with both of those guys. They are awesome, but it's not them. It's the platform itself and the fact that Fightful's so big now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trust me, I am blessed to have Sean ask me to do anything for Fightful because of how big they are.
Why do they want to talk to? And it's almost, I don't know if you fellas still have this, but I'm still at the stage of like, why do people want to talk to me?
I've been
I get
doing
it.
this for over 2 years now, and Drew's been a part of that whole roller coaster ride with me. So,
With that title right there.
yep, that beautiful freaking wicked crazy Pinfalls title right there. But for me, it's just I still to this day be like, why is anybody interested? Like, if I reach out to people, I'm like, why do they want to talk to me? And
Yeah.
you'll get those highs and lows and stuff. Like, there was a point where I wanted to just not do this, and Amanda and Drew are like, you need to do this.
Well, I'll tell you guys about this. I'm going to tell this story on Coexisting on Friday. But basically, about 2 months ago, I had a really down day where it was like, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. An interview I was really proud of did not do the views that I was expecting it to, which I'm sure we've all been there, fellas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I messaged Rob and was just like, look, don't, I'm just telling you this because I'm struggling. I'm like, I might quit, genuinely, because I'm struggling. Like, I'm not getting the views, I'm not getting the interaction, or, I don't have to tell you this. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
And literally, Rob Wilkins was like, no, you're not, because you're good at what you do. And it will come in time. And, like, basically, Rob talked me off the ledge of quitting. And I am going to tell that story again on Coexisting. And literally, he was like, no, you're not. Like, I'm not going to let you. If you do, I will... Not I won't be happy. That word is... I can't remember his exact words. But it was like, you'll regret it, and I think it will be a big loss for the community. And those words have been what have basically sustained me for a while. And, like... I'm trying to explain it. You help me out, guys. I don't know how to explain it.
I'll tell you, for me, it was more so like we have a Wicked Crazy Pinfalls chat, and I dropped the link and have anybody who wants to join us in there. Kind of like what BB does in the Body Slam stuff.
Yeah.
And Drew was rushing home to get on there, and nobody popped on. I was doing a show by myself, and literally... I was like telling him, man, I can't do this. I'm done. This was like 2 weeks in a row. I'm like, I can't do a one-man show. I haven't done it.
If you want to add me to the chat, like, genuinely, if you ever need a week that you want me to pop on, I will genuinely do it, because this is amazing and fun.
I mean, I will, obviously, but it's just, I was so done with trying to ask and all that stuff when I've had the same crew the whole time. I've been blessed. I really have. There's people on here that've been on here I didn't expect. Like, I've had within Drew, in the catalog, about 6 months in, I had Sean on here. Rob was my first guest. I'm so
pushing to that interview, FYI.
I had Sean on in September of 2020, and then Sean's popped in and out here and there, but I've been very lucky. I had John Alba at the beginning of the year. Like,
I've had him on. I don't know if you fellas have seen that one.
I've been dying to talk to Alex McCarthy. The golden goose right now is Denise Salcedo, and that probably won't happen because she's the
that's one that I'm
person.
Pushing for. Yeah. I've had Alex McCarthy on, by the way, and that was a fun chat. Sorry to burst your bubble there, throwback.
No, but I think the biggest interviews I've had is not even on the visual. Like, me and Drew did an audio podcast, and I asked Drew to do this stuff, and then he came on the visual. And anytime it's just me and Drew, even if it's afterwards, we have fun.
Yeah, like me and you have done this 2 weeks in a row, and it was a lot of fun, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you asking me, it's like I will always be baffled that good people like yourselves want to talk to me. It's almost like I'm going to wake up in a minute. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was my dream as a kid, to do content creating. It's like, I'm going to pinch myself and wake up in a minute. Like,
well, according to Rob and Maggie, I'm the NXT of the community, so I'll take that.
What does that mean?
Everybody that's gone through this show is doing bigger things.
All right. To be fair, I'd say that about my show.
Yeah, like Drew, he was doing his own stuff and everything, but he's doing stuff with Fightful. Maggie didn't want to do a lot of podcasts, and she would jump on our stuff. Now she's doing Coexisting. Rob was my very first guest, and I give him the credit because he helped me start all this, was the
Yeah.
co-creator of this channel and this show. So Fluggo from Love Wrestling has been on this show. Anakin JMT, who's doing his own stuff. Aaron Entertainment's got his own stuff. Like, there's been a litany of people that's gone through here that's
I
better.
think I told you this story, but literally most of my interviews that I've done lately, Rob Wilkins set up for me. I think I told you this for about.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It was like I literally
Rob's such a good
said,
guy.
it started with Maggie, and again, this is another story I'm going to tell on Coexisting. So, I will keep it brief. Literally, I was like, I really want to interview your co-host, bro. Any chance you can put in a good word? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, I fully expected him not to say yeah. I'll say that.
I know for a fact that I'm excited for what's next for you. I've always said that to you, even if we were texting and stuff. I'd be like, dude, I can't wait to watch everything you do and everything else. And it's great to see somebody who's positive like me that's doing amazing things too. But I know you have to rush.
I think everything that I do at the minute, man, and I'll leave you guys with this. I don't make money from my content. So everything I do now is fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's out of love.
And I think if it stopped being fun, I'd be like, goodbye. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I know you got to get going because it's 10 out there. So tell them where they can find you.
So, as you guys can see there, the good people can find me on Twitter at TomTalksRubbish. They can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I think is going down in this thing here.
Yep.
They can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is TomTalksRubbish, for interviews with some of the greats in wrestling media, such as Cassidy Haynes, a lot of the What Culture crew, a lot of the Cultaholic crew, a lot of the Wrestle Talk crew, and the Inside the Ropes crew. And they can also follow the Wrestle Watch podcast on Twitter and subscribe to bodyslam.net, wherever they get their podcasts, and on YouTube for the Wrestle Watch podcast, which is my show with Cassidy Haynes, where basically we sit and watch a match every week. And again, that's another thing that I feel very privileged to do, man, because it's like I literally got lucky with it. I did an interview with Cass, and he liked me. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, I want you to do a show for Body Slam. And I was like, did you send this to the right person? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm with everything with Body Slam, I'm very fortunate to do the NXT stuff because that's what I like. I like NXT.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, as always, man, this has been fun. Good to finally meet you, Drew. This was fun.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me up, fellas.
No problem. I'll add you to it tonight.
Cheers, bro.
Bye. Okay. Well, you got the champion and, me here. So what's Bud? How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a little while since we've done a show. Actually, I should get the title. What's wrong with me? Let me get the title. Show it off.
Well, I mean, it is your title right now. And while he's doing that, why don't you get over on Tom's stuff, comment, like, and subscribe, and give him a notification, dude. I mean, the guy's an amazing person and well worth having him on a constant basis if possible. I wouldn't mind being on Wednesdays and recording with him at 4. So,
not a bad idea.
To quote a line from a famous actress, Lucy, you have explaining to do.
I do. Yes. So I was on the Roundtable podcast yesterday after Raw, and I wasn't.
You've been doing a lot of that too. Also, you've been doing a lot of Roundtable stuff too.
I have been, yes. I don't know how or why, but I have been, and I guess I'm liked. So
more love. Who are you kidding? Let's be honest.
Well, don't make me blush. I kind of walked into a situation that I won't say I necessarily regret, but I kind of agreed to do something involving this. Putting it on the line against the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast Championship. And because I said, like, I have an empty square down here. He showed, this is Bad Blood's fault, because he goes and gets the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast Championship, and it looks really nice. I'd never seen it before. I was like, oh wow, that looks really nice. And then, thank you, Tom. You're really great.
Yeah, you're awesome, dude.
And Shane was talking about wanting a rematch, and he was talking to Julian about it. And then I was like, well, I have an empty square here. I could be 4 belts, Drew. It could be. I could just be collecting like FTR. And I mean, it's not set in stone, so I'm not gonna. I kind of had like some other things that I really wanted to do, because I knew that the Money in the Bank tournament didn't exactly pan out the way that we expected it to.
No, they all, for somehow, God forsake, they all tied. So I have to figure that out.
Yeah. So I know there are people that are ahead, and I don't want to. That's not what we do here. This isn't a gimmick title. This is a for real, thing, and we do it right here. So, I will think about the Body Slam thing. I may rescind it for now. Maybe somewhere down the line we do that again. Maybe for a Survivor Series or something. But yeah, I mean, there are people I would love to have matches with for this beautiful thing. But we'll talk off air about that. So how are you doing? How's fatherhood?
Fatherhood's awesome. He's actually in the swing right now and just swinging back and forth. I actually got, I posted this in a few places, right? And I got him in that Dragon Ball bib that my buddy gave me, which was awesome.
Oh yes, I saw that in the group chat.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's just, do I need my sleep? Yes. Am I used to not sleeping as much? I am now. But,
Yeah.
Between everything going on the outside and stuff like that, I wouldn't change anything. He's adorable, and I'm very fortunate and lucky. It's weird because, like, I'll watch certain things. Like tonight, he'll probably be laying on me where I'm watching NXT because I have to cover it tonight. But it's awesome to see people's reaction when I'm holding him, because you don't expect me to stream and have a little, he's going to be 3 weeks on Friday, almost a 3-week-old baby, newborn, literally me holding him and him being quiet. So, I mean, I didn't expect the whole coexisting thing. I didn't plan that. It just so happened it happened.
What a great moment it was too. It was great.
I just am proud of Amanda. I've always been proud of her, but I'm also proud of Lily for how she handled everything, and Brody, obviously. So, I mean, and the boys. So it's going to be interesting going forward when I go back to work, because I won't have as much time as I do now.
Yeah.
But it'll also be fun because of the fact that I get to spend time with these guys and, cherish everything else. It's crazy, how he looks like my mom. It's so weird. And everybody's like, oh, he looks like you. Yeah, I get that, but he looks more like my mom. Like, if you see pictures of my mom at around as young as Lily is, you'd be like, wow. But I mean, it's fun. It's a change, but it's a positive change. And for me, and as you say, and a few other people we know, a positive change is great, but also I'm a positive person, which in the community where a lot of people are negative, it's interesting to see everybody looks at me like I'm a beacon of positivity. I feel like I'm the new day almost.
Yes, I mean, you, Tom, Sean and people at Fightful, Rob is, I have to say, Rob Wilkins is probably like top 3 kindest people on the earth. Like, just what a heart of gold he has. He has. I privately talked with him, and he created this channel with you, co-creator Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, and he's just such a he motivated Kate Hensler to go back to the gym and focus on her health. Like, he's doing such amazing stuff, and I'm really, really happy that he's got that podcast with Maggie, and those two are killing it. I love them.
I love Rob to death. He's one of those people when I hadn't told people about Brody coming, but he popped that whole thing.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And like I told you and a few other people and stuff like that, but I didn't put it out there in the world yet. And when he did that, I was like, Rob, I didn't tell anybody. And he's like, oh crap. So I told him like it made more sense to have, like, Brody was on like a watch along and stuff like that. Just all you saw was like here up, but you didn't see him fully. And then in the coexisting thing, it was interesting. It just happened. So I was like, hey, I might as well have him on me and might as well do that. So
yeah, that was great.
But it's very cool to see how much has changed. We're literally 4 months removed from the 2 years, so we've got a lot of time and stuff, and I put certain things out there in the universe, so I'm hoping and praying that I can get certain people on. Now, I had Shane on, and I always have the opportunity to get BB on there anytime they feel like it. He's called me out saying I don't bring him on here as much, but his schedule's insane. But I really want to get the Joel and Tim back on here one time, and there's certain amount of people I post out there and say, hey, I would love to have you guys on, and it's just difficult with schedules and stuff. It's not like where we're in a pandemic at the beginning of COVID where everybody's in their houses going crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's this has been a very interesting ride, this Wicked Crazy universe of ours. It's
a labor of love, and everybody that's part of it is just awesome as hell. And like Sean being a part of it at the beginning, and being on here, who'd have thought that in the 2-year span we'd have John Alba on here this past February.
And I was on that show. That was a great show.
Ray Callahan geeking on it, that the fact that he was on a show with Sean, and it's fun to see people so happy because of this. And it's a labor of love. Like I said, I almost gave up on it a few times, but people pushed me to it. And now I looked at it, I did this in honor for my mom, and now I look at it, now I having his son, it's just, I want to leave a legacy for him on this channel where I'm in my 40s, God forbid, he's in his teens and he wants to hear me or see me. At least there's a catalog of a ton of stuff for 2 or 3 years or 5 years or 6 years or 10 years of me doing this, where he can actually see his dad doing something he loves. And that's the best part. There's a record of my life on here. Yeah. Between you and me.
Future Brody, you have an awesome father. I'm telling you that.
I'll leave this. He's has an awesome uncle. Once he comes up here, he's literally gonna freaking not give him back.
Like this.
But yeah,
mine forever.
It's great to see how much we've progressed. I never thought I would be doing stuff with Fightful. I've done stuff with them, whether it's a watch along. I've done stuff on a review with Sean. I like certain things. I was on the New Year's show like you were for the distraction for New Year's Eve one.
That's right.
I never thought all these things would be possible, and now it's like, okay, so what am I going to do for the next year or two to make this better? And like having Tom on and saying he'll come on a regular basis, that's great. Trying to get people on here that you may not know but I believe one day will be huge. Like look at Pluggo, what he's doing with Between Two Beards and
with JPJ
stuff. I want to get JPJ on and talk about that stuff. I've had Astros on here with Ed Fries from Love Wrestling, and Ed is actually, I want to do
Spencer
in real life.
Love Wrestling has been on the show as well.
Yeah, and I want to do like a real life because he lives in the next town over. So it would be awesome to do something like that with our JPJ. I'm just
You've had so
there.
many people, so many interesting people of all walks of wrestling media, even on this show. You've had Sean, you've had Jeremy, you've had Joe, you've
Uh,
had
Tim
John
and Joe.
Alba,
I've had
Tim
Tim
and
and
Joel.
Joel on. We did a watch along, and that kind of didn't go right. But yeah, I've had them on. I've had Hannah on, Wild Boy on here. You know, Steven Jensen and stuff. There's a few people I'm gonna put out there in the universe that I really respect out there. And as much as like there are people high in wrestling media and stuff, there's one person I'm dying to do a show that will never do a show with, and you know who I'm talking about. And she will never do a show. That's what she straight out said. But there's certain things that I want to do with this, and which is whether it's on the Twitch and get that completely fully going because we just got a new subscriber in the Roundtable podcast too, and or just I really not care for much of the YouTube numbers because with numbers it drives you nuts, but I'm more want to do this for fun. So it really has been interesting to see all these people. I mean, Anakin was like my second guess after Rob. Like, and I look back at the catalog that's been on there for about, let's say 18 months, 19 months. And there's so many people like those roundtables we've done, the other things we put out there, Maggie ranting about COVID, just all these awesome things and all these people coming in and out and stuff. But
Maggie, who got me to break character and just totally ruined my character that night with that amazing. She's just such an amazing person.
I mean, I would love to get Dennis back on here for a show if he has time. Like, it's so much fun to see so many good people and see how they're doing and prospering and stuff. I'm literally hoping that I could get one day somebody in real life to actually sit down with me and have a conversation on here and just enjoy it. Whether it be Sean, if he came up here, Spencer, I would love to have a beer with Spencer just because he's been talking about coming to Boston for so long. Like, I would love to actually have Tom come over here and just sit and talk if he could and just have so much fun. I think if I had to categorize the people I want to be on here, Cassidy, because I do stuff with Body Slam and I admire what he does, and Tom and everybody in there.
You're a great guy.
Yeah, you're a freaking phenomenal dude. Like, I would love to sit and talk to Cass for a little bit and just pick his brain and stuff. Cass has been a really big help with me when it comes to the Body Slam stuff.
Yeah, that was really awesome that he wanted you to do NXT, and that's and kind of me also, but I just couldn't handle that back then.
And
but
then
Jameis is doing a great job. I enjoy watching you too.
And Jameis was on here too, so that's awesome anyway. And he said he'll come on when he can. But I literally have a list of people in mind, and I put it out in the universe. And if it happens, it happens. And if it works out, it works out. And I mean, Cassidy, out of respect and everything, he's high on that list too. I mean, the wordsmith from Love Wrestling is there's so many people I want to do stuff with. I want to do another car show with you while I'm on leave, just because it's coming out next week in about 9 days or so. And it's going to be so much fun to watch, just seeing people's reaction. Instead of talking wrestling, we're talking about cars.
Yeah.
So, but
Cars 2 we got to do.
Yeah, it's like a series like the movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been a blessing too. So, but seriously, all in all, I mean, the one person I want to come down here, my aunt's coming down here tomorrow. That's why we're doing this early. Is that I want people who are close by to actually meet the people that matter, that's around me in real life, because a lot of people that I consider like my best friends, you, Rob, Anakin, a few other people, I want you guys to see not this, but just me as I am and not on camera, because I'm the same way on camera as I'm off. We've had conversations, especially the day Brody was born and stuff, and it doesn't change. But it's fun to like sit down and just shoot the shit.
It is.
So, but I know you wanted to talk wrestling and stuff.
No, I don't. Really.
But we'll figure out the title soon enough for everybody. I promise you that. We've got plenty of time. But we're gonna wrap this up. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes, and we're just gonna have some fun. I'm gonna go spend time with the baby and Amanda and stuff, and Drew's gonna rock out that title and just have some fun tonight. So tell them, champ, where they can find you.
You can find me at Big Money Drew on Twitter. Hits and Misses is going to be coming back soon. I'm happy to report. And something else, but I'm not giving that away yet. That's going to be a surprise. I got to talk to somebody and see if they're available, and we'll see, because that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun.
If it involves guests,
project.
I would love whatever you got planned down the pipeline, whatever it is. I would love to be in as a guest at some point. That would be awesome.
I will see. Yeah, I don't know if it's a guest type of a show, but maybe one or two times I could get a guest on. But it's a brand new idea that I had, and I'll share it with you. When people aren't watching, because it's a private thing I haven't really put out there yet. So yeah. So Fightful Overbooked, great channel with a lot of great people. They just did Pillar to Post today. That's a hell of a show with Jeremy Lambert, and then on Twitter at Big Money Drew, and here for the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls universe with the title.
Catch it up tonight. NXT post show, bodyslam.net. Me and James are going to break down the NXT show. I'm extremely excited. I didn't catch last week's because of my dad coming in, being around and stuff. We were going to do it on a Wednesday, but I am going to watch it tonight. Have a good night's sleep, by the way. And Tom, you're always welcome here. I'll add you to the chat because that's one insane chat.
Get ready for that one, Tom.
Yeah, pretty much. But I will be talking about NXT. I'm excited to actually sit down and analyze and talk about a possible Hunter NXT, a Triple H NXT, because we can now compare the differences and speculate everything else. Other than that, we do a show here every Thursday night or every other Thursday, Wicked Crazy Pinfalls. Follow me on the Twitter right there on the bottom. Subscribe to the Twitch. Start talking a little bit more on the Twitch side. That way we can have some fun. We're close to getting where we need to be, but not close enough. And then on YouTube, youtube.com, as you're watching Throwback 27. Help these guys have more fun, because whatever you guys do for comments and stuff, it makes our day. And unless we get monetized and Drew is a mod, you literally will kill every bot in the world for stuff. But as I say every show, do a good deed, pay it forward. And if Brody, you're watching years from now, I love you. Have a good day, guys.
Oh.